Happy football Sunday, everybody. Thomas, what's good? Back like we never left. We got a lot of good games coming up today. I'll give it a minute, give people some time to roll in here, and we'll get these start-sit questions rolling this morning. I'm trying to check and see if I can get some live inactives this week. I know last week we had the Zach Moss inactive, Trey Sermon inactive. So I'm going to keep refreshing here to see if, we can get anything live, make sure we don't have any surprises as we get into the week. But as I'm looking at this, get those start-sit questions rolling in the chat. Here to hang out 30, 40 minutes. We'll see what we got. What's up, Jack? Happy football Sunday. Let's get some dubs this week. And shout out to everyone joining from the Discord, including Elick Reedy, Stinky Pinky from our Discord. I'm not going to ask about the username, but he's one of the homies in there. So if you're not in the Discord, be sure to join that. It's an absolute blast. Free to join in the link below. But let's get those start-sit questions rolling. I know there's a lot of tough matchups this week. We got Jack on the Miles hype train. Miles Sanders this week. We'll see if he can put up a good performance. But yeah, let's get some of these start-sits going. My Colts today play the Rams, so a little bit of a bummer there after that Seattle game. So live, we got Jamison Crowder's inactive today. Not that you were starting him anyway, but officially inactive, activated from the COVID list after last week. So maybe that means some more funneled volume to Corey Davis. He might get a little bump. I'm still kind of fading Elijah Moore until further notice in that offense, but Jamison Crowder is inactive. All right, let's hop into some of these. Trevor, what's good? Good morning. Tannehill or Winston? I'm going with Ryan Tannehill here. I know he disappointed last week against the Arizona Cardinals, but Tannehill is a very efficient quarterback playing Seattle this week. Seattle did a pretty good job against the Colts, but I think Tannehill should be fine. Should be a fairly high-scoring game. At least that's my expectation. Winston's more of a dice roll. I love what I saw from him last week. Didn't get to see a ton of volume, but I think Tannehill's the safer option. I do like Winston's matchup against Carolina, but I'll still lean Ryan Tannehill there. Andy, what's up? Good morning. PPR, Miles Sanders or Devontae Smith? Now, this one's tricky. They play San Francisco. Because the thing is, like, Miles Sanders probably has more guaranteed volume. I like what he got last week. I'll pull it up here. Last week, I want to say Miles Sanders had like 5 targets. He had somewhere from 12 to 14 carries. Yeah, last week, 15 carries for Sanders and 5 targets. So his utilization was great. Smith, though, 8 targets, the number one receiver in this offense. Tough matchup against San Francisco. I'd probably go Sanders over Devontae Smith in a PPR. I love what I saw from him in the receiving game. I think he's a safer option. If you want some upside, I think Smith is the upside play. But Sanders, if he can get 15 carries and 5 targets in this game, I think he should give you a very, very high floor and be a safe play. All right, thank you for these questions. Let's get it rolling. Julian, what's up? Brandin Cooks or Landry, half PPR, waiting till Ayuk gets his job back. That's smart. Yeah, I'm fading Brandon Ayuk this week. I hope he comes out and has a good game, but I'm not starting him until I see that, until he really works his way back into the offense. And I see it on the field because I don't know if I can trust what Shanahan says. But Brandin Cooks or Jarvis Landry, they're playing each other, Cleveland and Houston. Landry with Odell out should be a pretty safe floor play, but I actually like Brandin Cooks here. I know the Houston offense is pretty questionable. Houston as a whole is pretty questionable, but we saw some funneled volume from Cooks last week. This dude's just an amazing wide receiver as well. Some of the plays he made were fantastic. So I'll go Cooks. I think they're going to have some pass volume in this game trailing Cleveland, and Cooks is going to be that number one target. So I'm going to go Brandin Cooks there. Jack, Tim Patrick or Manny Sanders, full PPR. So Buffalo plays Miami. The Dolphins play the Dolphins. Why am I saying the Dolphins? Oh, yeah. Bills play the Dolphins. Jacksonville plays the Denver Broncos. My brain just like broke there for a second. But I like Tim Patrick's matchup against Jacksonville. Personally, in one of my home leagues, I'm starting Courtland Sutton and Melvin Gordon in the same lineup. Doesn't really feel great, but I think of these Denver options, you have both running backs are playable this week. Sutton's playable, Fant's playable. Tim Patrick, I think, is playable as well. You kind of have to hope for the touchdown, but with Judy out, I think he could see some targets and a great matchup. So I'll lean Tim Patrick there just because in Buffalo they have that tougher matchup against Miami. You got Diggs, you got Beasley, you got Gabe Davis, you got Manny Sanders. So I'll lean Patrick there. All right, Thomas. Let's see. 2 flex has to go. 2 flex, 1 has to go. Harris, Edmonds, Jamar Chase. Half PPR. I'm going Jamar Chase and Damian Harris on that one. I love Harris's matchup. He got fed the rock last week. If he can get in the end zone this week, I think he's going to have a great game. So I'll go Harris and Jamar Chase. Dylan Horn, what's up? PPR wide receiver and flex play out of Hollywood, Tyson, Fournette, Rojo, Robbie Anderson, and Nelson Aguilar. I would probably go with Robbie Anderson here. The 3 targets last week were concerning, but I don't want to buy too much into it. I'm still willing to roll him out there against New Orleans this week. So I'll go with Robbie Anderson, and I'll also go Hollywood Brown in a PPR. I like what I saw from Hollywood last week. He got the 6 receptions. He was very involved, looked very good. So in a game against the Chiefs, I think the pass volume will be there for Baltimore. I'll go with Hollywood and Robbie Anderson. A Sports, what up? Deebo, Mike Williams, or Brandin Cooks? Mike Williams is my start of the week this week at wide receiver. Love the matchup against Dallas. I think he's going to have a fantastic game. So I'm going Mike Williams. I'm buying into Mike Williams this week. I have him in some DFS as well. I know Deebo's coming off the big performance, and he's got a decent matchup against Philly. But I'm trying to get Mike Williams in my lineup if I can. Also, before I keep going, if you're not in that Discord in the link below, get in there. It's absolutely free to join. Stef and I are in there answering these start-sit questions all throughout the week, so you might not have to rely. Love it when you guys come hang out in the live streams, but you can ask anytime. There's a great community in there, free to join. Join that Discord if you're not in there already. And everyone that's coming here from the Discord, like, shout out to you. It's been an absolute blast. Don Juan, KJ Hamler, or Tim Patrick, standard league 12-teamer. I'm going to go Patrick here. Man, this is tough. I do like the matchup against Jacksonville. Hamler dropped the deep touchdown last week. I think Tim Patrick should be a lock for more targets in this game. That would be my expectation, is that Patrick would have more targets. Hamler, though, could always hit on that big deep ball. So Patrick is the much safer play. With KJ Hamler, you're kind of hoping for that deep touchdown. So I'll go Patrick. But I think both could be interesting in DFS. And if you're in a 12-team league and you have to pick, I'll go with the guy that I expect to get more volume, which is Tim Patrick. All right, Trevor, we got a tight end question. Appreciate the tight end question. It's a tricky one. Gesicki, Johnny Smith, or Jared Cook in a standard league. I'm definitely fading Gesicki after last week. I'm a little bit worried about him in Miami with consistent volume. I'm going Jared Cook here. I love what I saw from him last week for LA. Was very involved, 5 receptions. Now they get that Dallas matchup. I think there's going to be a lot of pass volume in this game, and I think Jared Cook should be involved. So I'm going to go Jared Cook there. I actually love him at tight end this week. Daggurs, what's good? Tyson Williams or James White? I'm going to assume this is a PPR or at least a half PPR league for this question. Also, if you're asking some of these questions, be sure to let me know if it's PPR or not, because that does impact a question like this. If it's half PPR or full, I'm going James White. I actually liked the involvement he had last week in a deeper league. I'll take that floor over a Tyson Williams. All right, Anthony, what's up? Okay, 10-team league, standard scoring non-PPR, Kamara's RB1, sit 1 running back, Mixon, Eckler, or Taylor. In this money league, league mates don't know a lot about fantasy football. Well, good place to be. If I'm sitting 1, if it's a non-PPR, it's between Eckler and Taylor for me. Mixon, I love the volume he got last week. Eckler still might be dealing with that hamstring, might be a little bit limited. And if it's a non-PPR, I know Eckler didn't have any receptions last week, but that was an anomaly. I expect Eckler to be used a lot in the receiving game. So I'll probably sit Eckler in a non-PPR. If it was a half PPR or full, I would sit Taylor in a tough matchup against the Rams. But you're in good hands with those running backs, so I wouldn't be too worried about it. Henderson or Meyers PPR. Chris, what's up, man? Let's see. I'm going to go with Darrell Henderson against the Colts. I like the volume he got last week. Sony Michel was not involved at all. Henderson really was the workhorse. I do expect Michel to get more and more involved. I like Meyers as well, and it's a decent matchup against the Jets. But I'll go with Henderson. I'll go with the guaranteed volume at the running back position. Jack, James White or Fournette half PPR? This one's tricky because Fournette actually was fairly involved in the passing game last week, he ended up having a fine performance for you, but James White was involved as well. And I think James White moving forward is going to continue to have that pass catching role. White saw 4 carries in week 1, also saw 7 targets. The Pats do play the Jets this week, though, so I don't expect them to be in as many passing situations. So I'll give the slight edge to Fournette, but with that Tampa Bay backfield, I'm worried about starting any of them on a week-to-week basis. But I'll give the slight edge to Fournette and a half PPR. Chris, Teddy or Kirk Cousins? Kirk Cousins plays the Arizona Cardinals. Teddy plays the Jaguars, like we hit on earlier. I like both a decent amount this week. I think Teddy should be fine. I think he has a very high floor, but Kirk Cousins has more upside. So for that reason, I will go Kirk Cousins. I am afraid that that pass rush for the Cardinals is going to be all over him all game. So if you just need like a stable 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, I think Teddy delivers that easily. But if you want that upside with more volume, I'd go Cousins. So I'm going to go with the upside. That's usually what I do. So I'll go Kirk Cousins there. All right. Thomas asking on behalf of his sister. That's a good brother right there. Has to decide between Evans, Meyers, and Waddle. One has to sit. Starting Mike Evans, no doubt. I'll start Jalen Waddle against Buffalo. Tricky matchup with what Buffalo did to Pittsburgh last week. I know Pittsburgh won, but it was kind of a nasty game. I like Jackobi Meyers as well, but I think Jalen Waddle with Will Fuller out should be fine. Gives you some upside as well. Franklin Allen, what's up, Franklin? Good morning. Tonyan or Jared Cook? I'm going Jared Cook here. Tunyan's someone I haven't been super interested in just because last year he had like 11 touchdowns on 59 targets. So his whole game was based on touchdown or bust. And I think this week it's kind of the same story against Detroit. If he gets in the end zone, he's going to be fine. If not, you're probably not going to be satisfied, where Cook should get enough volume to give you a solid performance regardless. So I'm going to go Jared Cook there in a good matchup against Dallas. Hab doesn't know what's going on. Notifications on. Haven't got one in a week. Wow. That's a bummer. Got to get that figured out. Also, yeah, ring that bell, turn those notifications on for our channel. We got start sits coming every week. We're going to get into some good player takes as the season goes on. Buy lows, sell highs. We're talking about it in the Discord as well, which is in the link below. Free to join. Get in there if you're not in there already. But Hab is one of the guys that's been following the channel for a while, so we appreciate you. Julio Jones or Brandin Cooks full PPR? I'm going to stick with Julio on this one. I think Cooks has a decent outlook, even against a tough Cleveland secondary this week, just because of that funneled volume. They should be passing it a lot. But Julio against Seattle, I think there should be enough pass volume in that game where you go with Julio Jones. Give him one more week. You drafted him to be a stud for your team. So I like Julio there. Justin, what is up? Glad to have you in here. Arizona D against the Vikings without the left tackle, or Rams D against the Colts? This is a tough one. I think if you have the Rams D, to me, I'm going to start them every week. I'm a Colts fan, so it hurts me to say to play the Rams D against the Colts, but they just have so many playmakers. I think the Rams D is a lock unless it's like an elite top of the top offense. The Colts, I think, are above average. So I do like the Rams D, but full disclosure, I'm starting Arizona D in my biggest league against Minnesota. I think they might give up some points against the Vikings, but they have that pass rush, to your point. If the Vikings are without their left tackle, like, they're going to get after the quarterback. They're going to create turnovers. They're going to create plays. So I like Arizona D a lot, but if I have those two, I'm probably going to stick with the Rams. And then we got Diontae or AB full PPR. I'm going Diontae Johnson. AB has that boom potential, especially in a good matchup against the Falcons. But Diontae is just, he's really emerging as the 1A. It's like a 1A, 1B, 1C in Pittsburgh. And Diontae is always the one getting the most volume. So I'm going to stick with Diontae Johnson in a full PPR. We're going to roll through your other questions, Justin. You must be in a lot of leagues. Higgins, Claypool, Devonta Smith, or Jackobi Meyers at the flex. I like Devonta Smith of that group. I like Higgins a lot too, but I think Smith is going to get some volume. Was the clear number 1, 8 targets last week. And then Stafford or Tannehill. Honestly, after what I saw from Stafford last week, I'm starting Stafford until further notice, especially with the stretch he's got on his schedule coming up. Andy would I throw Elijah Mitchell in the flex? I would. And the 49ers have come out, you never know with some of these reports, but the 49ers did come out and say Elijah Mitchell will be carrying the load this week. Take it for what you will, but I'm willing to start him. If I pick them up, I'm willing to put him out there this week. And then Justin with another one. I'm rolling through these. I'll try to get to all these questions as well, by the way. So if you asked and I'm not there yet, don't worry. I'm going to get there. Justin says, DK, Ridley, CD, or Cup in full PPR need 3. Well, first of all, your team's stacked. But I go with the first 3. I'd go Ridley, DK, and CD Lamb. Love Cooper Kupp as well. But those first 3, I just can't get off of. I mean, they're absolute studs. So that's got to be the pick for me. All right. Last question from Thomas. Jamal Williams with Swift out or active, or Tyson Williams. I'm going, regardless, I think I'm going Jamal Williams here over Tyson. I think Swift is going to play. I think he's going to be fine, but I like Jamal Williams. He had like 9 carries, 9 targets last week. So in a game against Green Bay with pass volume coming, I like Jamal Williams there. All-Star Gamer, what's up? Got the Washington Capitals logo. Nice. Big hockey guy. Full PPR has to start 2. Gaskin, Taylor, I'm guessing Jonathan Taylor, Henderson, and Thielen. Well, JT is a lock for me, even in a tough matchup against the Rams. So Jonathan Taylor is pick number 1. And the other one's hard. Thielen had a great week last week, so it's tough to bench him. I'd probably go Thielen here over Henderson just because he's got, I think, the best chance of scoring a touchdown of the rest of these guys. So I'd go Thielen. A lot of times with Thielen, it can be touchdown or bust, but in a game against Arizona, Minnesota's going to have to be throwing the ball. I think Thielen's going to be fine. So I'd go JT and Adam Thielen there. Robert Batson, what's good? Devontae Smith or Bobby Trees, half PPR. I'm going Bobby. I'm going with Bobby Trees. Robert Woods, he's still a start every week guy for me. I think he's going to do well this week. I know last week the touchdown kind of saved his day, but I'm going Woods there. Andy asks, would I start Elijah Mitchell over Miles Sanders or Brandin Cooks in a PPR? I would not. I'd probably stick with Sanders and Cooks there. If possible, I'd love to see if Elijah Mitchell does it again this week. If I have good options, I'm willing to wait, especially in a PPR league with a guy like Brandin Cooks. But if I have to start Mitchell as an RB2, totally fine doing it. But with some of these other options, I would stick with Miles Sanders and Cooks. Moving on. Keep the questions coming. We're racking them up here. I'll try to get to all of these. I'm going to hang out for 10, 20 more minutes. Max asks, Jamar Chase or DJ Moore? Well, luckily, you've got 2 good options here. Jamar Chase and the Bengals play Chicago. Panthers play the Saints. I'm going Jamar Chase. I like what I saw last week. Made the big play. I'm sticking with Chase. It's tough. I mean, it's a really tough one here. But I like Jamar in this one. That's close, though. It's really close for me. Ideally, I'd like to get both in my lineup. Oh, we got a dynasty question coming in. Let's go. From Franklin, Zeke in a 2022 third. Oh, redraft PPR. I don't do many draft pick trades in redraft, but I'll do my best here. Zeke in a 2023 third for Rojo in a 2022 first. Rate this trade. Well, the side getting Zeke obviously is making a push this year. If I'm trying to compete this year and I need a running back, I like the Zeke side there. So moving back 2 rounds does hurt for next season, but if you have the chance to go all in and win a championship, if that team's going for it, I like it. Crown Trend, good morning. Pick 3 full PPR, DJ Moore, Landry, Elijah Mitchell. Well, not a big math guy, but that only looks like 3 options to me. So I'll go with DJ Moore, Landry, and Elijah Mitchell. Porter Hobson with a question on Mahomes. He's also got Mahomes in the photo. So, I think I know which way you're leaning. Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson, full PPR. Well, if you have Patrick Mahomes, I'll make it simple for anyone with Mahomes questions. There's never a situation where I'd sit Patrick Mahomes, no matter the matchup. And I mean, maybe if you have Mahomes and Kyler, it's going to get interesting. But if you do, you need to be trading one of those guys. So I'm going Mahomes all day. Oh, Crown. Okay, I got to go back. Pick 2 for Crown Trend. Sorry. DJ Moore, Landry, and Elijah Mitchell. I'll go DJ Moore and Elijah Mitchell there. I think Landry's a safe option this week. But I want the upside of Elijah Mitchell. I think I picked Cooks over Landry earlier for some of that funneled volume. So Elijah Mitchell's right in that same range. And I think that's kind of where I draw the line. I'd go Mitchell over Landry with DJ Moore there. Eric Carr, what up? James Robinson or James White, the battle of the James. Man, J-Rob was disappointing last week, and they have the tough matchup against Denver. I'm going to roll him out there again. I'm not going to give up on James Robinson just yet, so I'll stick with J-Rob for now. And if he disappoints again this week, if the usage isn't there again, I'm going to be a lot more worried about him. But even in a full PPR, I'm going James Robinson. All right, Yule Pod. We got a CEH, more Chiefs questions. CEH or Damian Harris full PPR. I'm still going CEH here. I do like Harris a lot this week against the Jets, but we saw last week, even with a lot of volume, Harris can be at times touchdown or bust. Like last week, he had a fine performance for you. He had 23 carries, 100 yards, added 2 catches. So he'll be fine, and I'm actually really excited about him in that matchup. But CEH in a full PPR, I think does give you some more upside, so I'm going to lean that way. Elijah Mitchell or Javonte Williams, half PPR. I'm going to go with Javonte Williams there. I like Williams and Melvin Gordon both this week. I really like the matchup against Jacksonville. I think they're going to win that game, being, this Denver Broncos defense, run first type of team. I do think that Javonte and Melvin are going to get some good work, so I'm fine to start either one. I think there's a chance only one has the big game, but I think I'm more than willing to roll either of them out there in a good matchup this week. All right, Eric with another flex question. Also, keep the questions rolling in. I'm going to get there. Don't worry. Also, thanks for hanging out. And if you haven't joined our Discord, I'm going to plug this every live stream in the link below. Totally free to join. Stef and I are in there all the time, answering questions, talking about football, talking about potential trades with you all, things like that. So if you haven't joined already, be sure to join. But Eric asks, full PPR, Jarvis, AB, or DJ Moore in the flex. I'm going DJ Moore. I know it's a tough matchup, but I like what I saw from him last week. I like AB as well this week, but I will lean DJ Moore there. Benjamin, what's up? Schultz, Troutman, Beasley. Pick 2, tight end premium. I'm going Beasley for sure. And then, man, that's tough. I'll probably go Schultz. I think Troutman is exciting for the full season. Didn't show a lot last week, so I am going to go with Schultz there. I did like his involvement. I think the game against LA is going to be a little bit higher scoring. Michael Gallup's now out, so I'll go with Schultz and Cole Beasley. All right. Bailey Sylvester, what is up, dude? So you got the Neo Matrix picture. I have to say, I just watched the entire Matrix trilogy for the first time with my wife over the past week. So that question hits a little different now with that picture. So Corey Davis or Diontae Johnson full PPR. I'm going Diontae. I think Deontay's still an every week start. I really like the volume he gets in Pittsburgh. He has kind of emerged, in my opinion, as the 1A of that group. Last week, 10 targets. I mean, I know he kind of saved you with the touchdown, but the volume's there. So I'm going Diontae. Kimbo Films, what up? We got a lot of hockey fans in here today. Start Mitchell, Deebo, Tyson, or Mike Williams at the flex. So I had a question like this earlier with Deebo and Mike Williams in the same question. I'm going to stick with the same answer. I'm going Mike Williams. I'm kind of putting my chips in on him this week. Full PPR. I know he has questions. He's injury prone. He can be boom or bust, but I love what I saw from him last week. Super involved. They get a great matchup against Dallas. I'm going with Mike Williams there. All right, we got an RB2 question from Eowyn Harrigan. Hope I didn't pronounce that wrong. Gaskin or Damian Harris in a half PPR. I'm going Damian Harris there. He got over 20 carries last week, 25 total touches. Now they get the Jets. I do like Harris. There's other options I do like better, but I really do like Harris this week. So that's definitely my pick there. Zubin, what up? Thanks for hopping in. LaVisca or AB full PPR. If you've been watching the channel, you know we love LaVisca Chenault full season, but we're going AB here. LaVisca has a tough matchup. Antonio Brown against Atlanta. He can be a little bit boomer bust, but we're going AB. I love this question from Bailey Sylvester. What's my go-to beer for Sunday football? I've honestly been on a little bit of an IPA rotation. So I've been trying out a lot of different IPAs lately. Some local stuff. I'm located down in Tampa, Florida. So that's been my jam lately for a nice Sunday football beer. If I'm going with something a little more mainstream, I got some Colorado Kool-Aids, the Coors Light in the fridge. The mountains are nice and blue, so might have to break one of those out today too. Great question, though. Wow, Porter. Dude, you got some stacked teams. Mike Evans or Amari Cooper, full PPR. I'm hopeful for the Mike Evans bounce back this week. I have him in my biggest league, but after what we saw from Cooper, he was my fantasy MVP at the wide receiver position. Amari Cooper is an every week start. Franklin, appreciate you. Yeah, like and share the channel if you enjoy it. Also join that Discord. Really do appreciate it. Caden, what's up? Caden Kessler, welcome in. Nathan with a receiver question. Would I start Robbie Anderson now that Lattimore and Gardner Johnson are out, or Cortland Sutton? This is tricky. I was disappointed with Sutton last week. I got burned last week in my home league. Had Mike Evans, had Najee, had Cortland Sutton. So as you can guess, I lost. But I do like the matchup against Jacksonville. I do think Robbie is interesting against New Orleans. I'm probably going to give it to Sutton by a hair. Robbie Anderson only getting 3 targets last week was concerning with McCaffrey back. DJ Moore looked like the clear one. Terrace Marshall was really involved too. So I'm going to lean Cortland Sutton. But either option is a little bit dicey this week. Caden says, do I think Tua could go off against the Bills? He certainly could, but I would not bet on it. I'm trying to fade Tua this week if I can. Eric, I appreciate you. Thanks for hopping in. We'll be here. You know where to find us. Really appreciate the support. Can't thank you all enough. Steven Burgess asks a dynasty question. Steph and I do love dynasty. A little bit less dynasty talk now that we're in the season, but in our Discord, we got a whole dynasty thread. So we're talking dynasty year round. Are Hasty and Ty Johnson worth holding? I think so, especially in your dynasty leagues with deeper benches. Like most of mine have 20 bench spots. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and both of these guys get on the field. So with those last bench spots, you just want guys with an opportunity. Hasty and Ty Johnson are going to find their way onto the field at the running back spot. So I think they're worth the stash. I think they're worth keeping for now. All right, Sullivan Sellers, what's up? Happy football Sunday to you. Tyson Williams or James Conner as RB2 and full PPR. The good thing for you with CMC as your RB1 is that he basically scores as many points as 2 running backs combined. Takes a little bit of the pressure off. Man, I'm going to go – this is tricky. I'm going to lean James Conner. I've been notorious for fading Tyson. I got a little bit burned week 1 because he did have the breakaway run. I thought he looked great on the ground. It's not anything against him as a player. I think he's going to be good for this Ravens team, but I look at what happened last week. Tyson had 9 carries. Latavius had 10. Tyson had the 35-yard breakaway touchdown run. If it's not for that, I mean, that saved his day. Now Latavius is more worked in. Now Devonta Freeman is active for this game. We expect them to be trailing against the Chiefs. So Tyson is someone I'm a little bit worried about. And with James Conner, say what you want about his efficiency, say what you want about him being injury prone, but he's healthy right now, and he got 16 carries last week. So I'm going to go with that volume at the RB2 spot, especially if you do have McCaffrey as your running back 1. All right, Nick Miller, Corey Davis or Marques Callaway. I'm going Corey Davis. I'm riding that hot hand. Jamison Crowder's inactive again today, so I think Corey should get some really good volume in that offense. I know it's a tougher matchup against New England, but I'm still rolling with Corey there. And Franklin asks Callaway or Mike Williams. Mike Williams is I'm all in on him this week. He's my start of the week at the wide receiver spot. I think he's going to have a really big game, so it's Mike Williams for me. And then Caden with a QB question, Tua or Baker. I'm going Baker here. The matchup against Houston's phenomenal. The one concern is that it's such a good matchup that Cleveland's going to be able to just run it down their throat, and Baker's not going to get a ton of volume, but you got to go with that great matchup. Tua does play Buffalo. They did a pretty good job against the Steelers last week, so I'm going with Baker there. Big Pun, what's good? First of all, we got A-Lot the GOAT. Appreciate you. Big Pun's been riding with us for a while. And then he asks, should we worry about Bobby Tree's targets? I don't think so. This is something we've seen from the Rams for a while. Obviously, now Matt Stafford is at quarterback, so it's a little bit different. But we've seen Woods and Kupp fluctuate with who has the big game. Woods only had the 4 targets last week. Kupp had 10. I wouldn't be surprised if that flip-flop this week. I think both are still must-starts for now. So until we see a pattern of Woods getting consistently out-targeted by Kupp, I'm not too worried about it. Oh, we got a kicker question. Let's go. Justin Tucker or the Falcons kicker, Full PPR. Well, neither of them are huge receiving threats, so I'm going to rule out the PPR considerations for now, but you got to roll with Tucker. My boy, Younghoe Koo, I got in my lineups. He is a fan favorite in my household. Between my wife and I, helped her make it pretty far in some leagues last year, but Tucker is still the man. So we're going to go Justin Tucker. Jacob, what's up? Hollywood Brown or Johnny Smith for the flex? I will go Hollywood there. I like Hollywood a lot this week. I know Johnny's been questionable. I have, some things pulled up to try to get some updates, but I know it looks like he is active. Okay, Johnny is active, which is great. So he's suiting up today. But I'm still going Hollywood. Back on the beer takes, Bailey, I appreciate you digging the IPAs. Not so sure about the Coors Light. Hey, sometimes you gotta go back to the basics with some Coors Light, but the IPAs are nice. Tobias, 2 flex positions: AB, Henderson.or Diontae Johnson. I'm going Diontae there. I've talked a lot about the volume he's been getting in Pittsburgh, so I'll stick with him. And then it just comes down to me, like, do you need the upside or do you want a high floor? Henderson was the guy last week for the Rams. Colts have a pretty good run D. So if you need a high floor, I'd go Henderson. But if you want that upside, I'd go AB. If it was me, if I already have Diontae Johnson locked in, it comes down to PPR and non-PPR. PPR, I'd probably go ahead and favor AB there. All right, Derek. It's not morning anymore, so I can't say good morning, but good afternoon. Full PPR. DJ Chark or Waddle or Fournette. Well, looks like your lineup is pretty stacked. I'm going Jalen Waddle here. The matchup for Jacksonville scares me a little bit. I think all 3 Jacksonville guys are startable in a PPR league. I think you can start Chark, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault. But against Denver, I don't think all 3 are going to produce. I don't know which ones are going to produce, but I think maybe 2 out of the 3 will. So Chark worries me a little bit. I do love the air yards, the target share he got last week. But Waddle, to me, with Fuller out, should be a safer option. He has the boom upside too with, the playmaking ability he has. So I'd go with Jalen Waddle. Porter, you got some stacked teams, my guy. David Montgomery, the new nickname for David Montgomery, or Zeke, full PPR. Wow. I mean, it's weird to say to potentially fade Zeke. They do play LA. The Bears play Cincy. I'm probably going David Montgomery there, as crazy as that sounds. And then got to get to some more beer takes. Look into Founders All Day IPAs for a full day of football watching. I got to write that one down. I will definitely check that out. We need all the football beer takes we can get going in here. RJN Productions, Robinson or Tyson? I'm guessing this is James Robinson. I'll go J-Rob there. I want to give him another week. I want to see what he can do with a bigger workload. Hopefully he gets it against Denver this week. So I'll stick with J-Rob. I just hit on Jacksonville. This one's tough. Marvin Jones and DJ Chark. Oh, which one should you play? Man, I'm going to lean DJ Chark. DJ Chark had 12 targets last week, only caught 3 passes. Marvin Jones had 9 targets. He did have 5 catches for 77 and a touchdown. One of those was in major garbage time. Not that it takes anything away from it, but I'm going to lean Chark. I'm going to chase the targets a little bit just because I don't really know how this Jacksonville game is going to break out. So it's a toss-up between the 2. But if I had to pick a side, I'd pick Chark. All right, Caden. Christian Kirk, Jalen Waddle, or Cole Beasley. I'm going to go Waddle there. I've talked about Waddle. I like him with Will Fuller out. The matchup's not great, but I like what I saw from him last week, so I'll stick with Waddle. All right, Zubin. Miles Sanders or J-Rob in the flex. You also have T. Higgins. I'll go Miles Sanders. He got a great workload last week, 15 carries and 5 targets. That gives you a really high floor, so I'll stick with Sanders, although I do like Higgins this week as well. And then we got Bailey back. I love that Neo picture from the Matrix. That's great. Tony Pollard or Trey Sermon, desperation RB2 start. I'm doing everything I can to not start Trey Sermon today. Is there a chance he comes out and is involved and does okay? Yeah, but I'm not banking on it. He could easily be serving as the 3 in that game, where Pollard now with Gallup out, I think is going to be involved in a PPR league. Like you mentioned in your next comment, I think Pollard at least has some upside. Maybe he could pop off a big play. So I'll go Pollard. Oh, we got a different kind of beer take here. Caden with the root beer on game days. Nice. Nice. Cowboys versus Chargers, not Rams versus Cowboys. Yeah, Cowboys Chargers today. High over under game. I'm excited about that one. Rams play my Colts, so I'm pretty worried about that game with the Colts already being 0-1, but we'll see. RJ in Productions back with another flex question. Aguilar at the Jets, J-Rob at Denver, Sanders at Miami. This one's tough. Aguilar did have the touchdown last week. Sanders, I want to say Sanders had a decent target share last week. Yeah, Sanders had 8 targets last week for Buffalo. And they're playing Miami or J-Rob at Denver. Man, this one's tricky. I'm probably going to go J-Rob. I know he burned people last week. I'm going to pull up only 5 carries, but he did see 6 targets. So I will go with J-Rob. Hopefully the target share gives him a floor. And then if he can actually get the work we expect him to get, he'll be a little bit better. Caden, appreciate you hanging out. Good luck to your Dolphins today. Jack, what's my go-to football Sunday meal? Well, I do get up, get some eggs, get a protein bar, get some coffee, head to church Sunday mornings, get back, hop on the live stream. And then this might sound a little weird. I live in Florida, but a nice smoothie bowl on Sundays is like so refreshing. I know it's not like your typical wings, your hot dogs, stuff like that, but some Florida heat, a nice smoothie bowl, bananas, strawberries, granola. Sign me up for that all day. Probably going to rock some pizza for the night games though. But on a typical Sunday, like my dream meal, just a lineup of some good wings, some good wings. Can't beat that. All right, but we got some more questions to take care of. I'm probably hanging out about 10 more minutes. I'll get through all these questions before I hop off. Also, join that Discord if you haven't already. Can't talk about it enough. Greg, what's up? 2 PPR starts here. Gaskin, Waddle, Mitchell, or Henderson. First one for me is going to be Darrell Henderson. I like what I saw from him last week for the Rams. He was the workhorse in that game. Stafford, lit it up. But Henderson, 16 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown. Did have a catch in that game as well. So Hendo is number 1. Number 2 is between Gaskin and Waddle for me. In a PPR league, I think you can roll out Myles Gaskin. And he's going to be solid for you this week. The root beer takes are great. Nolan, last one for you. Tyson Williams, Mike Davis, or Mark Ingram in the flex. I'll go Mike Davis there. It's a volume play. But I don't know if his efficiency is going to be good against Tampa, but I think he'll get the volume to be solid. Some more beer hype, Mother Road Brewing Tower Station IPA. If that ever makes it out here to Florida, I'll have to check that one out. Distribution might be tight. Jacob, do I think Gibson might be a bust considering McKissick getting reps? I don't think he's going to be a bust. If I can pick up Gibson, roll him out as my RB2, I'm feeling great. Is his upside a little capped with McKissick? I think so. I mean, this is the nightmare for Gibson, and that's the whole narrative around him being a breakout top 5 guy this year was getting the passing work, getting all the work. And after that game, McKissick got a little bit more than we would have liked to see, but he was efficient with it. He was good with it. So I think it takes away the upside. Gibson's not going to be a bust in my opinion, though. Ace Sports, Joe Mixon or Melvin Gordon. You go with the volume. Joe Mixon is an absolute stud. Stick with him. Oh, fishy with the comment. Where is Sexy Stef? I don't even know where that's coming from. I'll have to let him know that people are missing him on these Sunday mornings. I'm guessing he caught some late church this morning. I hit the early one, but Stef will be back hanging out in the Discord all day. I know he's going to be watching a lot of football, but we'll be back together on the pod soon. I know we had some start sit videos last week. We're going to get into some good stuff this week as well. So I'm actually playing him in a dynasty league today, so I'm sure we're going to be smack talking a lot, but don't worry, Stef will be here soon. Not on the live stream, but in that Discord. Patty, what is up? Claypool, CEH, Cooks, or AB at the flex. You already have Godwin starting. I like CEH. I know people are a little bit worried about CEH, but even last week, 14 carries, wasn't very efficient with it, but he had 14 carries. He had 3 targets. I want the volume there, so I'm going to roll with CEH again this week. Oh, I like this question. Survivor pool. Do I have a team that is a lock to win besides the Browns? I think this is a great week to pick Denver. Jacksonville just got boat raced by Houston, and I think Denver is going to be a competitive team this year, but in that division, playing the Chiefs twice, the Raiders twice, the Chargers twice, Denver's going to be in some tough games. So this might be a sneaky one to go ahead and lock in Denver. Looking at some of the games, I also like New England against the Jets. I think they're very interesting. They lost last week, but to me, they looked a lot better than the Jets did. So those would probably, I mean, Tampa as well. But you might want to save them for later in the season in a survivor pool. So I think, to me, you sneak Denver or you sneak New England this week. I wouldn't say they're locks, but I like their odds. Bucks D or Bills D? Bills play Miami. I like the Bucks against Atlanta. Atlanta looked awful last week, and Matt Ryan's prone to some issues. And I believe they're in Tampa, so I'll go with the Bucks. And is Swift worth the risk? I think he's going to play, but I will say this: don't go with DeAndre Swift if you don't have a backup option. If you have DeAndre Swift and you're trying to hold out for Monday night, make sure you have either Jamal Williams or A.J. Dillon or somebody or a flex like a Marques Valdes-Scantling. Like, put him in your flex if you're going to wait. You don't want to be stuck with the zero. Then we got KC defense or Miami defense. I would pick someone up off waivers. I mean, KC plays Baltimore. Miami plays the Bills. So to me, I would be looking for a streaming option. See if Arizona is out there against the Vikings. Okay, I got a couple more. I'm hanging out for another minute or two, and we'll wrap up. Ace Sports asks, Jackobi Meyers or Mike Williams? I'm going Mike Williams there. I love the matchup against Dallas this week. He's a big DFS guy for me in FanDuel lineups and things like that. And then last couple here, Sullivan, Devonta Smith. Also, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like it. We're going to be coming at you all season long. Not only videos during the week with start sits, player narratives, things like that. We got the live streams on Sundays as well. Usually late in the week, we'll roll one on Friday. And we got the Discord. So hang out with us for the full year. We're trying to get some titles this year. But Devonta, T. Higgins, or LaVisca, I'll go Devonta Smith there. I love the target share he got. I think he's going to be fine this week. Ace Sports, appreciate you for subbing, man. We'll roll through a couple more. Porter, Prescott, or Wilson. I'll go Dak in that high over-under game against the Chargers. Thank you for subscribing as well. Appreciate it. And then, we do have a couple more questions. Okay. Yankees, 9786. Gronk or Pitts, full PPR. This is tricky. I'm still rolling with Kyle Pitts. I know they're going against each other. I know Gronk had the massive explosion week 1. But the thing with Tampa, there's a good chance, to your point, if they get up, they start hammering the run game. You got Mike Evans, who's going to be more involved. Pitts still saw 8 targets last week. I know Gronk. I think Gronk saw 9. Yeah. Gronk saw 8 targets. Pitts saw 8 targets. Gronk was obviously way more efficient with them, but I'll still go with Kyle Pitts there. All right, Jack, with his last question, MVS or Tim Patrick, full PPR. I kind of like MVS as a sneaky start on Monday night. It's boom bust with MVS, but if you look at, he was one of the sneakiest names from week 1. Because if you look at that box score, I watched that game and it was brutal, but he had 8 targets. So he was super involved. I think you can roll with MVS as the wide receiver 2 in Green Bay. So thank y'all for hanging out. Good luck this week. Let us know in that Discord how you do. Keep the questions coming. We want these teams to make the playoffs, win some titles this year. Absolutely love hanging out with you all. So have a good one. Good luck on your football Sunday, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.